This video will discuss the asbestos inspection requirements for contractors in Colorado. The information in this video is taken from the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment, or CDPHE, Regulation 8, Part B. The reg states that prior to renovation or demolition in an area of public access which may disturb greater than the trigger levels of suspect asbestos-containing material, or ACM, the material must be inspected to determine if an abatement is required, or assume that it is ACM and abate it as such. Since it is unlikely that anyone wants to pay for an abatement based on an assumption that a material is positive for asbestos, an inspection by a Colorado certified asbestos building inspector is required prior to renovation or demolition. This applies to most any project you do in Colorado. Commercial or residential, it doesn't matter. A couple of definitions to note from this regulation are, first, area of public access, and second, trigger levels. An area of public access is an area where the general public can enter during normal business conditions. This includes where patrons are charged to enter, like a theater or a club. So think of any commercial buildings or common areas and condos and apartments, etc. Single-family residential dwellings, or SFRDs, are also considered an area of public access according to this regulation. So think houses, condo units, apartment units, etc. Trigger levels refer to the amount of material to be disturbed by the renovation or demolition. Once the trigger levels are met, all the requirements of the CDPHE Reg 8 Part B apply to that project. For commercial buildings, the trigger levels are 260 linear feet. Think of pipe wrap. 160 square feet. Think of drywall, flooring, etc., or the equivalent of a 55-gallon drum. For single-family residential dwellings, the trigger levels are substantially lower than for commercial buildings. The trigger levels are the equivalent of a 55-gallon drum, which is the same as commercial, but for pipe wrap, it is only 50 linear feet and only 32 square feet for other materials. 32 square feet, that is the size of a sheet of drywall, 4 feet by 8 feet. So any residential project that will disturb more than this amount is regulated by the Colorado Asbestos Regulation. Make sure that you have a Colorado certified asbestos building inspector complete a thorough inspection prior to renovation or demolition on all your projects. Call White Hat Services for all your asbestos inspection and consulting needs. The next video will discuss the state's notification requirements for asbestos abatement and demolition.